What's going on, guys? So today we're gonna do attempt. I've tried to download a couple of videos and it seems to never want to work. So I don't know what's going on with that. Anywho, this channel is 100% dedicated to building engines, race cars. So yeah, if you like race cars, you like no prep racing, specifically grudge racing, old school cars, building motors, stuff like that, that's what we do here. Today's video though, I'm gonna do this video because I couldn't find a video that would help me in pretty much a full breakdown. So I'm gonna completely break down this whole issue, and hopefully it'll help somebody else out there, man, because there's always people getting the car that I have, which is a 99 to 04 Mustang. So this one is LS turboed. With that being said, I'm gonna step over here to the bench with you guys and we're gonna go through one of the upgrades that I'm doing right now. There's a lot going on with the car. The brake system has been started, kinda, sorta. And then I jumped into the cooling system. The cooling system is at the whole cooling system, the pump, the adapters, the crossover coolant tube, the radiator, everything that I have for the cooling system from the front of the engine to the radiator is at the aluminum shop. That guy is on vacation last week and this week, so I will hopefully get it back maybe Monday, Tuesday, maybe, or it could be later. Don't know, don't care. I can't do nothing with it until I get it back. So once I ended up getting that out to the aluminum shop, I started on the fuel system of the car. So I'm gonna try to break this down as easy as I can. So if you have a 99 to 04 GT, I'm not sure about the Cobras, I'm not sure about the V6s. I only have the GT body. It does have a Cobra bumper on it from the previous owner, which personally I love. But I'm gonna give you the full breakdown. So I bought the car. The car was obviously made with a stock from factory fuel tank and fuel pump assembly, which looks something like this, and it comes with a sending unit, which I have one here, but I don't want to show you this one yet. So if you pull yours out, quickly Google whatever year, make, and model your car is. Most of the time I just type in 99 to 04 Mustang, and then look up, like if I need to see, because some of the stuff when you buy these used cars, some of the parts have already been either mildly upgraded or minutely upgraded. Sometimes they're drastically upgraded. They sell a lot of street upgrades, if you will, for lack of better terminology. With that being said, I knew that this car had a very minutely upgraded fuel pump in the tank. This was years ago. I just pretty much tore that one down and then ended up getting a better fuel pump to put in, and then that was ran that way for 2 years, and now I'm upgrading it to a way better setup, but I didn't take into account that the system when I bought the car was an aftermarket system. Okay, so with that being said, this is like an LMR, one of the Mustang websites that's specific, they're real leaning towards the Mustang cars. There's a couple other ones that are real big. Late Model Restoration, which is LMR. And there's another one, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. Either way, if you pull yours out and you have a stock style and you're planning on running the Gen X or the Generation X fuel hat from Lethal Performance, this video is going to help you a lot. Just iron some bugs out, and you should be able to watch this video and be able to order everything you possibly need the first time. So depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to do what I'm doing, which this is a full no prep car with a stock tank, and I'm keeping the stock tank so I can continue to run in some of the classes that require a stock tank and won't let me have a fuel cell. Eventually I'm probably going to a fuel cell, and I may even end up using this setup either in another vehicle of mine, or I'll put it in the fuel cell if possible. Or I'll sell it and get my money back. Either way, if you pull your fuel hat out and it's the stock style, I don't know exactly what the OEM style hat looks like because mine didn't come with one, but I imagine that it is actually pretty close to what this looks like, if it doesn't look exactly like this, but there could be some differences. So this is what this one looks like. It has the little 4 power ends for the fuel sending unit and for the pump. And then it has the one single out. This is not a return hat, obviously. And then you have the underside looks like this. So if this is what the stock one looks like, I never seen the stock one on this car as it was replaced to this setup when I bought the car. But I know this one is a Delphi, and that part number, you can pause it, but is FG0827. And there's actually another sticker under it, but I can't tell, and I tried to pull it off, it's not gonna work. But this is what was on the car, okay? With that being said, if yours, you Google it and you go, I have the original setup. This is important, you need to know, do I have the original from factory style? And I'm about to show you something that'll also, if you don't have a part number on top, or just in case these look exactly like the stock setups, I mean identical, right? Other than a part number. If you don't have a part number but the stock looks just like this, you may not know. There's one other way to determine from my research. So if you pull yours out and you go, yeah, mine looks stock, and you can verify that maybe the tops are different, number one. And two, if yours looks like this, your fuel level, this is tells you how much fuel's in your tank. If yours looks like this, it is not stock. It is an aftermarket replacement. If it looks like, Google it, if it looks like the one on Google that says it's OEM and it looks different than this one, then you probably have the original and you'll be fine. If you have this, we're gonna get into some other parts that'll help you out in a minute. So right now, we're just gonna move right along to the next part. This is like an LMR setup, right? So the car came with a stock system in it, and at some point, the second owner of this car put I think it was a 240 pump. This was the upgrade kit from like LMR or whatever. I think it was the 240 pump that was in the car. Well, I ended up having a little small dry shot nitrous kit on the car when I first got it. I ran this setup, it was fine. Well, then I ended up supercharging this car and I went to a 525 Hellcat pump, part number 90,285 from TI Automotive, Walboro, it's all the same. That is their Hellcat pump, 525 liters per hour. And so I ended up reusing the stock can or bucket, and all I did is I cut the bucket to fit the pump. And I don't remember why I cut it this shape and why didn't I just round it off more. There was a reason, I can't remember what it is. So that ended up being ran in there. Well, now I'm upgrading to the Division X. And this is where if you're stock with a stock sending unit, you'll be fine. But if you don't have a stock sending unit and yours looks like this, follow along. So we're gonna get rid of this stock style hat and the stock style bucket. We'll move that out of the way. So what we have here is the Division X, okay? Now this one is pretty much put together minus the one pump. I had this one in the car. It's got less than 1,000 miles on it. There is another pump that is similar to this one. It is the On3 pump, and it holds the 340s. So the 340 pumps, it'll hold up to 3 of them. It'll hold 1, 2, or 3. This pump will only hold 2 pumps, but they're 525 pumps. The On3s won't hold a 525. Well, I've already got a 525 that's practically brand new, and 1,000 miles, and I'm pretty sure it's under that, but 1,000 miles, it's under 1,000 miles over 2 years. So this pump it sat way more than it got ran. So I'm going to continue to use this pump, and I'm gonna buy one more. They're like 190 bucks if you find it with just a pump. They get a little over 200 if you get the whole installation kit, which I don't need because I already have the connector. So if you're going to get the Division X, what you're going to get is pretty much this right here. That's all you're going to get: the fuel hat, the pigtail, and remember this, because this confused the shit out of me, but you get the fuel hat assembly, the pigtail, all these nuts and bolts and washers and all, and you're going to get these directions. And I'm going to tell you right now, do not be the typical man and go through and look at the pictures. Read this word for word, because I'm going to show you right here that this part, I can get the paper not to jump out of my hand. So this part right here and this part right here is the installation. Hold on one second. take a good peek at the car if you want. So you can see down in here all these nuts and washers and this big silver piece. You have to install that on the car, on the fuel pump, excuse me. You have to put it on the fuel pump exactly right. There is very little margin for mess ups here. If you mess up, you will bend this plastic washer. It's the white plastic washer right there. You will kink it, crimp it, bend it. You will leak and it will blow out the O-rings and you will lose fuel pressure. It'll squirt back into the tank, which is going to aerate the fuel. If you do not do it right and take your time and do it, even as you're tightening, just tighten it slow, it breaks all of this down and it explains to you why it is so important to do it. Now, if you've installed these before, you already know the game. If you haven't, and this is your first time, and it was mine, I decided to focus and do every little thing that it said. Okay, so when I got mine, this plug, my first issue, normally when you order something, it comes in the box without having to put it together, right? A fuel hat. This plug-in right here wasn't plugged in here. This wiring was plugged in up here. So when I got it, I'm like, well, damn, I gotta have another one to go into the bottom to plug to the pumps. So I go down a long road of research, ended up getting a buddy of mine involved in it, and he was confused in the beginning. And we came to the same conclusion around the same time, that it's got to go on the bottom. But my buddy's the one that said, hey man, and I'm telling you now, this, what I'm getting ready to talk about, is not in this paperwork. I have read it front to back multiple times. There's the back. Here's the pictures, and I'll even turn it around, give you a good view. It's pretty much just the installation of the O-rings, and it even tells you right here, if you crimp one and break it, it's bad, and this is what it should look like. It's just the installation of the little metal piece at the top, right? And there's no pieces missing out of this. LMR, or excuse me, Lethal Performance, this is what you get. It just, right here is all you get. Pretty much just the hooking up the fuel pump. And then there's this, and then there's this. So my buddy calls me back and he's like, hey man, it's gotta go on the bottom. And the only thing that keyed me to it is I was looking at their website, and on their website, there is a picture of the top hat. I was like, okay. He said, which I tried to find the said picture, couldn't find it, still can't find it now, but he screenshotted it and sent it to me. And sure enough, it is the top hat with that plug on the bottom. This was plugged in here on that picture, but when I got mine in the mail, it was here, and I didn't see that picture. He found it. So I'm like, okay, well, I told him, I said, man, I've already pulled it out of the top and tried it in the bottom, and sure enough, it works. And he was like, okay, well, that's where it's got to go. I had already found this one, and I told him, I said, I think it's this, but I can't find any reading on it. Nobody's talked about it, hence the video. I can't find anything for anybody to break this down. So I know that I got it right? And he was like, yeah, man, but it's got to be. That's the picture. I said, okay, the chances of them having it plugged in on the bottom and a picture on the website is probably not, they're going to make sure it's hooked into the right place for the picture on the website, right? So I come home and I started working on it, and I noticed that in this picture, this is the only clue that if you don't have a buddy, anybody to call to help you figure this out, because once I get flustered with stuff, my mind starts going all over the place. I don't focus. This is the only clue that you got that is supposed to plug into the bottom. And I did. I just made sure I had all the equipment, top hat. I got all this, let's go, let's put it together. Because I was more worried about putting it together the right way. So with that being said, that's the only clue you get. It actually does go on the bottom. It does pump into the stock line that comes off of the pump. It plugs right in. These are your two sending unit wires, hot and negative. This is DX-0045. This is the plug-in that goes to the top. So these four wires are your powers and your grounds to the pumps. These are the power and ground to your sending unit. You have to have this, okay? So this one is the one that goes on top, DX-0045. You can order these fittings. When you order the top hat, it will ask you below the top hat selection. There'll be two spots to choose what fittings you want. I ordered the fittings. One is a 10 AN, one is an 8 AN. They are O-ring boss on one side and AN on the other. And then you get your 525. Keep in mind, the 525s is the only thing that'll fit in here, if I'm not mistaken. So you got the pump, you got your fittings, or you got your wiring, you got your fittings, you got one pump or two, which I got to order the other one, and then you got your plug-in here that comes with the kit. So I'm like, okay, well, I got all that figured out. Now how the hell am I supposed to get the sending unit mounted to this thing? And I'm looking at it. There's nowhere to mount it. Well, there is a place to mount it. I'm gonna try to show you this if I can. So there's a hole right here and a hole right here by my finger, okay? If you are like me, you can look at stuff and know that this ain't gonna work. And I looked at it, and then I looked at this. That's not gonna mount to two holes that far apart. I mean, we're talking, that's 2 knuckles. How is that gonna work? So upon further research, another piece that you have to buy separately, $25. And this is for this is where we get into the stock fuel hat. If you have a stock fuel hat that is completely Ford OEM replacement from factory, not an upgrade, a minute upgrade. If it's a Ford factory part from factory, this will work. If you have a aftermarket from LMR, whatever the Jag, Summit, wherever, and your sending unit looks like this, it will not work. So I even tried and even fabricated the head of a bolt, which you can see right here, and I clearanced it so the head wouldn't be up, and then you can see it sticking out of the back there. And I even drilled a hole right here to put this one on here, and it was working great, except I was trying to clearance. So if you watch this white piece of plastic right here, see that corner right there? When it comes down, it wanted to get close to that head, so I was trying to clearance it because it wanted to stop like right there, and I needed to go to there. So it had this much room. So as I did that, I was trying to clearance the corner and just make it kind of a flat corner so it would clear the head of that bolt the rest of the way. Very easy work, very simple. It's making stuff work, right? That way I don't have to spend $100 on another one of these. And as I got ready to try to take a little more off the corner, the whole little ridge that holds the 2 wires, I'll try and see if I can't get it out of here. These little wires right here, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, it's not gonna want to focus on it. These are what ride on those 2 little metal tracks, and they're mounted inside that little hand right there, and they just slide. That's, you can kind of see how they got a little rake on them, almost. They just ride on those 2 metal lines, and the voltage changes on those metal pieces as it goes from low to high. So that's what tells the gauge, full, medium, whatever your level is, it reads the ohms on that. So either way, it won't work on here. So I tried to fabricate it, and everything was working fine. And you can fabricate it. Put it on there, and you just keep the, pretty much, let me see if I can get it lined up on here. Did I have it the wrong way? I might have had it the wrong way. Oh, I got it backwards. Sometimes it helps to pay attention. So I can't actually, I have to thread it in, but you can see that it would have looked something like this. I mean, you want this squared up in there, right? Try to get it back in this hole if I can. So you kind of want it like that. Kind of center the hole, do whatever it is you got to do, and then you just thread it down. And it would have been fine, but I ended up breaking that one. So to make it easy on yourself, it's not a do or die situation. If you have this one that looks like this, there is not a part number on it. But from what I can see, and I just started researching it before the video, the stock Ford ones only come with 1 wire, where these aftermarket ones seem to come with 2. And keep in mind, this all came together, so they would put another couple of pigtails right here, or spades right there, to be able to use them. So if you have this one, it's not a big deal. Just be really careful and just try to fabricate. You maybe could use some self-tapping screws. I just drilled a hole here, took an Allen head bolt, took the head way down thinner, and then it wasn't quite enough. Honestly, I probably should have pulled it out and clearanced it just a little bit more. But the reason that I didn't is because you can see that the Allen head hole is almost where it's getting ready not to have anything to bite onto to tighten in and out. And it doesn't need to be extremely tight. just enough to get it tied down in there. So, but if you have the stock OEM from Ford sending unit on a stock style pump, that's what works perfect with this. How it goes together, I don't know because I don't have one. I'm probably getting ready to because I broke this one. I'm gonna order another one. I did look at Advanced and stuff like that, something I might could scoop tomorrow, and it was $70 for this from Advanced. So if any of you guys have any dealings with this and you came up with a better solution, send me a comment or whatever. Follow, subscribe. I'm just getting started. This is the third build on this car, and I should have done this the first build when I thought about doing it. I actually have a TikTok and a Instagram page. It's the same name, 843 Performance. Matter of fact, this is what I used to have on the car. It was a Zex nitrous kit. I ran that in my line and all, still over here. Here's the line for it here, and then the box. So yeah, I should have ended up starting a YouTube channel on this car when I first bought it, which I thought about it, and then I was like, nobody's gonna watch me. Now I kind of regret not doing it because who knows where I'd be, number one. And number two, I would be able to have some kind of log from like the day I bought the car to all the way to now. So I have my Instagram. It's pretty much, there's a little bit of nitrous stuff on there, but most of that page is the supercharger build. And then my TikTok is mostly, the very beginning is the supercharged stuff. And then shortly after I started my TikTok, I decided to turbo LS swap the car, which I put off for 2 years. Finally decided I had enough and went ahead and pulled the trigger. So a little tidbit on the car while we're here and we got the fuel hat stuff out of the way. I am working on the brakes. There it is right there. I'm working on the brakes right now. I'm kind of paused on it because of the coolant and the fuel system. But this is version 1 of this car. It is a built 5.3 with a LS turbo swap, pretty much in all its glory. And this is tubed front end. As you can see, it's tubed. It's got the intercooler down here, custom piping. This is not a bought kit from like On3 Performance or anything like that. This is a custom built kit. I told my buddy what I wanted and he put metal to metal and made it happen for me. It's VS Racing blow off valves and stuff. And then I got the quick disconnect welded straight to the 102. BTR Trinity intake for cathedral ports. These are fully built 706 heads, CNC ported and polished. Yeah, coilovers in the front. Right now, the stock rear end is still in the car. And it is unfortunately sitting on flat Mickey Thompson's, but that is the only tires that I have to roll it around on. I just pump them up, they hold for a couple hours. But here's my 2810 5s that are 5/8 studs. So when the coolant system is done, the fuel system is done, and the brakes are done, I'm going to buy the 10 Soldiers brace kit and put 5/8 stud, 35 spline with a spool in the rear end. I already have the 410 gears in my other building over there beside my 76 Nova drag car, which we can do some videos on that too. That's getting a big block swap. I'm just trying to get this Mustang done. I got a lot of stuff being held up because of this car. This shop is right around a year old. Time has flown. It doesn't feel like it's that old. It could be a little less, but I think my math's right. It's right around a year old, and I don't have a light one. Matter of fact, all my lights are standing up right there. Right there's one. So I don't even have the rest of my shelves put up. I have this shelf, which is locked and loaded full of pretty much everything. And the bad part about this is I already cleared all of this space right here. My Nova had a built 355 in it, which was a hell of a motor. See if I can get you guys to see it. Matter of fact, I'll walk you over here. It had a 355 in it with a turbo 350 trans. It was built. Sat in a garage for 23 years. I fully restored pretty much the whole car. And it gave me 2 checks to bring home after sitting for 23 years. And all I did was the upgrade on the fuel system, the brake system, and the wiring, which didn't need some of that. I'm not sure that it needed the brakes done, but sitting that long, I wanted to feel like I was safe. So I put all new brakes, new brake lines, rewired parts that I added to the car, just double checked everything, and then put a brand new carburetor, new 3/8 fuel line, and a fuel cell in the back, and took the old stock fuel tank out because it was straight lacquer thinner in there. So yeah, but it's sitting over there, had the gears in the building beside it. You guys will get to see the Nova some. You go to my TikTok, there's some videos of me running it back when it was a bracket built car. The man who built the car was kind of like a father figure to me, an older brother figure. He actually passed away 6 years ago from a major heart attack, massive heart attack. And the car sat many years before he ever passed. And then it sat for 5 years after he passed. And I decided I wanted to go drag racing instead of street strip racing. So I didn't want to take this car off the road at the time, but I wanted to drag race, so I wanted to see if I could get the car, and it worked out where I got the car. And now it's got the motor out of it. The son of the man who actually built the car got the engine and the transmission back. He's putting that in a 3rd gen Camaro. And then you got my car, which I'm LS swapping, and of course the Nova's getting a big block. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. Also, this again is version 1 of this car. This car will end up with a 408 stroker motor, LS stroker motor on methanol. I'm not sure if I'm going to take the Whirly Boy here and make it a single but just go bigger, or if I'm actually going to go down here in the fog lights and put twins, do like twin 76s or whatever. I'm not sure 100% yet, but again, I'm kind of regretting not starting this channel long before now. So there's that. And I'm tired of getting banned on TikTok. They never give you, hey, you know, they won't give you a clip of the video that says, hey, this is the part we banned you for, and then so I can see it. So I constantly get banned, and I don't know what I'm getting banned for. So if you go try to watch your lives, if you don't get banned, you can go back and watch your lives. It records them and stores them for you. But if you get banned during a live, you can't go back and view that live. They don't give you any explanation on why you've been banned, what you said, what you did. They don't give you any information. It just, mine is the same one every time. Hate speech and harassment or some shit. And I'm literally sitting there, just the car. All you can see on the screen is my car. And then I'm talking and having a good time. People asking questions. We're cutting jokes and having a great time, talking a bunch of car guys, and then gone. So I'm sick of TikTok, man. I'm absolutely sick of trying to go live and interact with my, my followers and stuff. And I grow about 100 followers alive, and I average 150 to 200 average alive, and it stays consistent the most of the live. And I don't get on for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll be on for 3 or 4 hours out here. I was out here when I got banned. I was out here till midnight until they cut me off, and I was getting ready to go in about 10 minutes. My phone was getting ready to die. So that's why I'm coming to YouTube. I don't care about making money. I'm not looking to get monetized. I'm doing this because my kids can come back and watch this one day when I'm 100 years old, if I make it that far. And you can tell I'm chunky, so I probably won't. At least if I ever sell this car, I can go back and watch the videos. My kids can watch the videos. My son's 14. He wants to get into racing. So he's actually going to start out in the Nova, so I can record all that, put that out for you guys to see and interact with us, give us information to help us learn from you guys learn from us. So there's many benefits to doing it. So hopefully you'll stick around. You'll shoot me a subscription. You'll shoot me a follow, a couple of likes. If you see anything you like, you want to see a video on, by all means drop it in the comments. I don't know if they do messages, like private messages on the YouTube. You'll probably get to see a good bit of this car. This is actually my buddy who did all of my welding. This is his car. He asked could he store it here for a while. I told him of course. So he's got a lot of stuff to do for a lot of other people, LS swaps and welding stuff. So I don't know when you'll be able to see stuff on this, him working on it, or see it coming along. We also take the golf cart and all. We'll be going to drag races, which on TikTok I've been to a couple races and I TikTok live that. So again, I hope you like it. If you're into cars, I also like motorcycles and stuff like that. I don't have one right now. I'm married now and have a kid, and She don't want me to be around a motorcycle because I'm gonna kill myself. I already put myself in the hospital once. So either way, shoot me a follow, shoot me a like. You'll get to watch the channel grow. You'll get to see the car grow. You'll get to be part of a great thing happening in the car community. And we'll get to go to races together and just have a good time. So I hope you send me a subscription, a like, and a follow. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave it in the bottom. Thank you.